everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV, home of Talking Heads. And a big welcome to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio out of New York. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show is a special event. It's a special time, a special co-host, and a very special guest. Let's tell you more about it when I bring out my co-host and friend, Mr. Cini. Hi, Al. Welcome.
Dr. Jacalyn, thank you for inviting me. You know, normally I co-host the business program with you on Wednesdays, but
Yes.
Music is a business, and really talented musicians have a way of making it look effortless and easy. Tony's an example of that. I can't wait to first of all, I can't wait to hear his new release. It's wonderful. And secondly, it'll be fun exploring with him where that came from and how he does it, because it's amazing stuff.
Absolutely. So for our friends who are watching or listening, our guest today is Tony Moore, and he is releasing his new single, and he's going to do it here today. We actually have it. I've had it for a couple days, but I couldn't play it. And the process that he went through to make the video and create the song, it's really brilliant. So we're going to be talking to him about that and a lot more. So Al, let's bring out Tony. Let's not waste any time. Welcome to the program, Tony.
Hey.
Nice to see you. Tony Moore.
Dr. Jacalyn, Al, a great pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much for inviting me on the show.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, as you said, today is release day. It's the 19th of November, so the brand new single came out today. It's as fresh as a brand new single can ever be. So I'm very thrilled and very pumped, and it's a song that really means a lot to me.
No.
Tony, I want to share with our audience that as you were creating this, and it was very early in the morning there, like 3 a.m. or something in the UK, and you messaged me with the song, and I just started to cry. I couldn't, I was just so touched by it. And then when you put it to video, it was even more powerful. So before we play it, I just want you to share with the audience the name of your single and why you decided to put this out there.
Well, the song's called Never Gonna Say Goodbye, which is different from the song Never Can Say Goodbye. So don't get confused with that song. But on, I think it was October the 28th, which is less than a month. It's been less than a month. I just had a little moment of inspiration. And as a songwriter, my golden moments of inspiration are always early in the morning, because everybody else is meant to be asleep. And it's that kind of beautiful golden moments of 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when everything is peaceful and quiet. And I had a moment of inspiration about what it's like to let go of somebody in your life, not to say goodbye, but just realizing that everybody has a journey, and at some point their journey has to go in a different direction from your journey. Whether it's a child growing up, whether it's a relationship that has to move on, whether it's a partnership in a business that's kind of gone its length and needs to change, whatever it is, the process of letting go can always, be something that many of us will experience, and often will be an emotional thing, but not necessarily a negative thing. And the point is, it's about not saying goodbye. So I just was struck with that idea, and the visual imagery I've had for a very, very long time in the back of my head, this idea that letting go is a little bit like being a parent, teaching your child to ride a bicycle. And for ages, you're holding the back of the saddle so they don't fall off, and they know that you're there, and they need that comfort and that safety net for them to be encouraged to cycle. And after a little while of teaching someone to do this, you let go of the saddle and realize that they can now ride on their own. They don't need your help anymore. So that was kind of a visual metaphor for the letting go of something in a life. And then the rest of the song just tumbled out. So I wrote the whole thing in about an hour. And as Dr. Jacalyn said, I recorded it on my iPhone, and I sent it to a few people that are my friends that I know understand and will probably be awake at that time. And, her response was very, very immediate. And as she told us, she said to me, I'm kind of welled up on this. And because it's something that can touch all of us in a different way. And as I was writing it, I felt very emotional. It just was a message that needed to come out. I couldn't stop it, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. And, you were what you were just describing explains. We're going to play this out soon. I know I'm excited about watching it again. There are a lot of really touching, very symbolic elements in the video that go with the song, and what you just explained are what those elements mean. So I'm excited. This is great work, Tony.
And as a songwriter, in case anybody's interested as they're listening to it, for me, songwriting is an art that I am so blessed to be able to practice in my life. And I've been doing it since I was a kid. And every single day I learn something new and become a better songwriter. And I look at the songs that I wrote when I was in my teens and my 20s. And there's a few that I'm very proud of, but most of them I go, oh, do you know what? I didn't know what I was doing then. It's not good enough. It wasn't right. And through my life, I've learned from some incredible songwriters that I've had the opportunity to work with. And I've thought a lot about Sammy Cahn, who was a fantastic lyricist that used to write lyrics for a lot of Frank Sinatra songs. In fact, when Frank would do a special show and he'd want to do one of his big hits, but change the lyrics a bit to suit the show, he would often ask Sammy Cahn if he'd rewrite the lyric for him. And Sammy spent much of his time listening to the radio when he wasn't doing anything else and kind of just trying to improve the songs that were already hits, right? So there's a famous story he tells about he's listening to that song that was the theme from Midnight Cowboy, Everybody's Talking. And there's actually, this is very appropriate to you, Dr. Jacalyn. There's a line where is Rico, isn't it? I think that he wants to get down to Florida from New York, wants to get out of New York. And it says, I'm going to go where I want to go where the weather suits my clothes. Right? And Sammy Cahn goes, but it would be much better if they'd have said, I want to go where the climate suits my clothes, because then you get the alliteration of climate and clothes. And as the craft of a song, he said, that's what I would have done, right? So I think about that when I'm writing my own lyrics. So that the second line, well, the first line is, I release my grip and let you ride alone and saw you sail off down the street. Now, when I first wrote it, I wrote, I released my grip and let you ride alone and watched you ride on down the road, which is perfectly fine. But there was something nicer about sail off down the street, the alliteration in sail and street, and the imagery of sailing, of the freedom of sailing. It seemed a more beautiful way of describing it. So as a lyricist, I was, in this song in particular, I was just thinking how to craft the lyrics so they're beautiful to sing and nice to sing as a singer, but they have added poetic impact because of the words that I've chosen to use.
I love hearing directly from you, what was in your mind and the process that you went through. I think that's amazing. We do have a comment, by the way, and I think it's woohoo, woohoo.
That'll be a comment. That's Rania, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Rania. Woohoo to you too.
Tony, a question I wanted to ask, because you said it took about an hour. Is that something that's typical in writing a song for you?
Ish. I'm not very good at, I'm not a very patient person, to be honest. I've got a very, very low boredom threshold. So if something doesn't start to work very quickly for me, then I just leave it. There are, I think, one or two songs that I've written that have taken months or years because I've kind of come back to them and gone, oh, I quite like that. Maybe I'll change it and do it this way. But when I've got the bit between the teeth, to use a horse riding metaphor, I don't like to slow down. So maybe an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to finish the basic core of the song. And then I will come back and I will polish. So I will think of, and often it's because I'll just play it in the car and I'll be listening to it and go, oh no, that word needs to be this word, or that note, maybe I should sing it, a third above, or, I can polish it as I go along in my head. But the essence usually is quite quick.
I can understand that about the low boredom threshold, because I think Mr. Cini is on that same page with you. Tony, something else I wanted to ask you about. I love your fashion style, and especially in the video. So how do you decide what it is you're going to wear when you're producing that?
Okay, so I have a big wardrobe of slightly landish to outlandish clothing. I'm one of these people that doesn't really like to shop, but when I'm out and I see something I like, I buy it, even if I know I'm never going to wear it for maybe a year or two. But if it's a piece, I know that I might not see that piece again. Mm-hmm. So that jacket is actually by my very favorite designer, and it's the only piece of clothing that I own of his because he's so expensive. It's John Vivatos, who's based in New York. Actually, I think his showroom is in the old CBGB's club in down by the Bowery. I love everything that he makes. His rock and roll ethic of style in fashion is so in tune with the way that I think, but it's very expensive. However, that jacket I found in what we over here call TK Maxx. I think you call it TJ Maxx over there, don't you? Mm-hmm. It still wasn't cheap, but it was probably a quarter of the price it would have been. And I'd had a Christmas gift of some cash, and I thought, I've got to buy this. This is crazy not to buy it. So I've worn it for a couple of events, but it's been mainly on the in the wardrobe. So that's answer number one, is I have lots of things that I can wear. But I'm also aware that I need to, for what I'm doing, I want to set a style for the song. So for every video, there's a certain style for that song that I've created. And a lot of this is just instinctive. It's not me kind of plotting it out in a very calculated way. It's just knowing I want to put some things together that I think will, when you see that outfit, you will think of that song, if that makes sense. So I've got some other videos. This jacket actually features in the Route 66 video, the kind of the tatty denim jacket, because that seemed suitable for that particular song and it was a bit more rock and roll. Anyway, getting back to the subject of this, I put together a polo neck. I knew I had to have a polo neck in this, and I wanted to have a chain around the polo neck to kind of highlight that. And then it's just black trousers and some very cool leopard print high Cuban heeled boots. Now, I didn't quite know how I was going to make the video at this stage, but I did this for the photo shoot for the album cover, for the single cover. And one of the challenges, of course, working at speed, is that there's very little opportunity to go anywhere and do anything because I'm trying to finish things really quickly. So basically, I just took all the pictures myself on a GoPro with a 10-second setting. There we go. That's the single sleeve. Mm-hmm. And I did it in front of a green screen, and I used Photoshop to cut myself out. And then I found a picture. There's lots and lots of public domain film and photographs on the internet, if you know where to look. And I found this picture of this slightly desolate room. And I thought, what a great picture. So I used that as the base picture. I found a picture of a grand piano on another free public domain site, cut all the background out and put the piano in the room. I found a little pink bicycle because I knew that I had to keep the symbolism of the bike in it. And I found a little teddy bear, which I tucked away underneath the front of the piano there. And then,
so wait, I want to bring it back up again while we're talking about it. So, okay, there's the bike and there's the teddy bear. Okay, go ahead, Tony.
So basically, that was going to be the single sleeve, and interestingly, the wallpaper kind of matches my jacket, right?
Yes.
So it feels nicely in keeping with the space. The pink bicycle stands out because it's pink, but I toned it down just a little bit, but it draws attention to it. So there's all these little details. In fact, the coloring for me reminds me a bit of Tapestry, you know, the Carole King album. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, I'm just going to have a cough.
Yes, I think you're right. Just so I want to understand. So none of this is real. These are all images.
They're all
none
pictures.
of it's real.
None of it's real.
All pictures.
And I've kind of superimposed myself inside it and put a tiny little bit of shadow in there, and then kind of played with the perspective to make it look like I'm really standing in a room that has a piano and a bike and everything in it. So that's what I did for the single sleeve. And then when it came time to do the video, I thought I need to do the video in that room. And in fact, I want to try and create the idea that I'm in this old house that maybe I used to live in, or maybe used to spend time in, we don't need to know the truth. We just need to feel evocative and that it's something that's been left behind, right? Someone's let go of that house. Mm-hmm. So I find more pictures, and then I thought, I want to have some pictures, of the child on the bike and growing up. And I found this again, public domain footage from the 60s, but I don't know who it is in the video. This is it's just stuff online that's kind of just exists and people are welcome to use it. So I thought, how do I put that into the video without making it look too crass or silly? And I thought, why don't I have a cinema inside my imagination? So the very opening scene is I'm walking up to the outside of Tony Moore's Memory Palace, and it's like an old-fashioned cinema, and these are the scenes I'm going to see in my memory. So then I sit down in the seat, and I, then it cuts back to the room, and then I see, the little girl riding off on the bicycle in my memory, and then kind of cuts between all those different things. But everything that you see is not real. As in, it's all just photographs. I'm just in my front room with a green screen behind me all the time. Same room I'm in right now, to be honest.
Wow.
It's incredible. Now, I watched some of your videos on YouTube, and I thought that maybe you had some of that seating. I forget what it's called, like movie theaters or theater seating. So I thought, that really is real. He's actually there.
Well, I'm really glad you thought that. But basically, what I did was the chair that I'm in right now, which is, you can't see it, but it's a little white chair. I just hung some green material on the back of it, and I set the camera up facing the back of the chair, and then I sat down in the chair, but I imagined that I was shuffling along in the cinema. It only lasts for like a quarter of a second, but there's something about the way I'm moving that tells you I'm trying to get between rows of seats to sit down. And these are all the little convincers that I try and put in to make it feel more real. So now all I've got is a picture of some cinema seats, and I've put myself in the middle of them, right? It's still just a photograph. If I was to take the picture away, you would just see me sat in a little green chair.
Well, nothing in the video may be real, but the music is very real to it.
Thank you.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Let's
take a look at some more comments, and then we'll play the video.
Okay.
Follow up. That is it. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Hello. Diane says, hi, bro.
Hi, Diane. Hi, sis.
And then joining us from Twitter. Hey, Tony, loving the pop filter from Pumpkin Masters.
Well, you see, I'm following with the pink, right? Everything is about detail. So this is the pink of the bike on the pop filter. Yes.
And also, Tony is ridiculously resourceful. And I want to say hello to Zane Carson Caruth, who's also placed a comment, but it's not showing. So,
Hi, Zane.
all right. So we're going to take a look at this. I'm so excited because I've watched it over and over again. Thank you for sharing it with me early, Tony.
And now, for the first time ever. Absolutely.
Are you ready? Are you ready, Tony?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Okay. Woo!
That was beautiful, Tony.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, Dr.
Really,
Jacalyn.
really, really beautiful. Great work.
Fantastic.
You have a couple of other comments I think maybe we can get to.
Okay,
Yes.
I haven't seen. If you want to read them to me.
Diane is saying we should send love to your mom.
Oh, yes. Thanks. I will pass it on.
Oh, that's great. Tony, I know you said you pulled all this together in very short order. And, I said at the beginning of the program that a really, really gifted musician is able to make it look easy. But this isn't easy. And you play the keyboard, too, in this, don't you? You're the...
Well, yes. Yeah, basically, everything is me. Partly because I've got used to doing that in my life generally because I've had to learn to be self-sufficient. Partly because the last 18 months of lockdown has taught me to have to be able to do things, and partly because there wasn't time to get anyone else involved, even if I wanted to. So I wrote the song on the 28th. The next day I recorded it in my studio, which is in the shed in my mum's garden. And actually the instrumentation is quite simple. It's just a piano, a little bit of cello, some strings and a tiny bit of percussion and that's it, really no harmonies. But it seemed that he didn't need more than that. That seemed the message and the the sentiment of the vocal was the most important thing that should stand out.
It's a perfect father-daughter wedding song.
Well, there you go. See, that could be
Yes.
another marketplace, couldn't it?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
And
So,
go on. I was only going to say none of these things I think about. I'm just going, here's a beautiful emotion I'm feeling that I want to turn into a song because I need to express this. But
Yeah.
then as it develops, of course, more it seems to tap into more places that it would be relevant.
Oh, beautiful.
I feel like there are several different aspects. So there's the actual song, the lyrics, the performing of it, and then the production of it. So it's well done on every aspect.
Thank you.
Really.
What
brilliant.
you're in this room. This is where you actually did this, in the room where you are now.
Sure. In fact, if you want, I will show you exactly where I did. I'm going to move the camera off the top here, so you won't see me, but you will get a little view of the room, and it was all done here.
There's the green screen.
Green screen, and I kind of folded it out at the bottom so that I could stand on it. And I put some lights at the other side, and that was it.
Wow.
So there's no white piano, there's no black piano.
No.
You're just
Just keyboard.
unbelievable.
Well, here's the thing, right? With the white grand piano, it looks like I'm playing it.
Yes.
So that's a really difficult thing to fake. So what I did do is I took my own little digital piano, set it up, sat down with the green screen around me, and filmed myself playing it. And then I just cropped the bottom up and overlaid the white piano on top. So it looks, you can see the movement because I'm really playing the song. I'm actually doing it. So my arms are moving up and down the keyboard in the right places at the right time. But now it just looks like I must be playing the keyboard on the white grand piano, but it's just a photograph. It's just 2 dimensions. All these techniques I learned when I was doing my streams. So, I think when we talked before, we mentioned how from March to July 2020, I did a 2-hour live music stream every single night. And I created these environments, a bit like you're seeing here, where I could have things behind me, but I could also have things in front of me, which creates this sense of a different environment completely from the shed. And as I was doing this more and more, I was getting more adventurous and learning the kind of things that I could do and finding techniques to make things look more 3-dimensional. So much so that in June of 2020, I started making a movie. I think we might have talked about this before. It's called The Voodoo Vortex. But if we haven't, let me explain briefly. Somebody saw what I've been doing with the footage and said, you could make a movie like that. And to me, that's a challenge. I went, actually, maybe I could. So the biggest problem, of course, is under the real lockdown, I really couldn't go anywhere. So I had an idea to do a film noir detective thing, a bit like Sin City. And I thought if I do it in black and white and I make it the scenery like comic cartoon and I'm the only live action in it, that way I can use all kinds of different photographs and they will all look the same because they're all black and white and like a cartoon. I don't have to color grade and match the lighting in them. So I just started it, and over 2 months I finished a 42-minute feature-length short movie. It's called The Voodoo Vortex. Sam Steele is the hero. And I'm thrilled to say it's just been in 2 film festivals and it won an award in one of them for merit, for technical merit. So all of the techniques I learned. Thank you so much. The movie won't come out till sometime next year, I guess, because I'm trying to find a digital distributor right now. However, in the movie, I've had to create hundreds of scenes in rooms, in streets, in corridors, on tops of buildings. And all of that has given me a sense of how I can work very quickly within a green screen environment. So that video was made in an afternoon, the whole thing. Because I also realized I wanted to try and finish this quickly and release it as quickly as possible. So I knew that the main picture was going to be that one with the doorway and the bicycle. So I imagined what it would be like if it was a real room. I'd walk in through the door, I'd look down at the bicycle because that's a memory. I'd look over at the piano and then I'd start to sing. So I just did that to nothing, right? Just had to imagine it. And then when I laid it over the imagery with the piano in the room, it worked perfectly. And but of course I can change the size. I can make myself taller or shorter, put myself anywhere in the room to give it that sense of perspective. And the fascinating thing is that the lighting never changes. So I've just got some big bright LED lights. The lighting never changes. But as you watch the video, it appears that I get darker and lighter in different scenes. So when I'm playing the white piano and there's a lot of light behind me in the windows, it seems like I'm lit by some sunlight from the side. But it's not. It's an illusion that the brain, luckily for me, kind of fills in the picture, because it's assuming that light must be from the sun, right? And when it's a darker space, it seems to be a bit darker. It's a very interesting phenomena.
Well,
it truly is. I wish we could play it at the same time that we're looking at it. I wish that StreamYard gave us that ability, because I'd like to go through inch by inch.
I'd like to say, how did you do that? How did you do that? How did you do that? You know, it's visually, it's really impressive work, Tony. So, and I know anybody who's ever worked with green screens, you got to understand angles. You got to understand. I mean, everything has to be set in a perspective that makes it look like it's there. And that's not easy to do. I mean, you're kind of glossing over it. And I know for a self-taught video guy, you really did a beautiful job there. But even more complicated than that is getting that all to play out over the soundtrack, the music track. You got to sync up your lips, and you've got to sync up the action. That's good when is it going to be Sir Tony Moore?
Oh, well.
When is she going to get around to it and make that happen?
You have to have a word with Liz for that.
I refer to you as So Tony Moore anyway.
Thank you
I
very
just
much.
want to let her, you're welcome. I just want to let our audience know it's just something basic. So I have a green screen here, and as it starts to get darker, I notice there's white marks, or it's breaking up, and I'm trying to move the lights around, and even that's hard, and I still haven't figured it out, let alone to do what you did by yourself, filming the whole thing. It's beyond brilliant.
Well, there's also lots of editing tricks. So I use some software called Final Cut Pro, which many people use on a Macintosh. But for example, I crop the image, so I don't need to have the edges, right? So if like you, the lighting is a little bit isn't even enough on the sides and some of it's breaking through on the green screen, I don't worry about that, because I just crop the image right. So if this was the image, now I just crop it to here. Right, I wouldn't need the stuff on the side, and then you're getting the strongest part of the image. And there's lots of little tricks to just get rid of the green screen. And there's a scene as you see in the middle where I'm walking through a white room, like with a broken floorboard, and so all I'm really doing is walking across the green screen from left to right. But I know I'm going to be putting it in that room, so in my head, I'm kind of seeing the room, and that's a little part of acting, really. This isn't, an Oscar-winning performance from an acting point of view, but I am acting as in responding to the environment and seeing things that aren't really in my room, because I know they'll be in the picture. And those tiny little elements, like I say, help convince the viewer, me included, right? I look back at it after I've done it, and I've looked at it a million times as I'm editing it, and I'm fooled by it. To me, I go, "Oh, no, I wasn't really in that room. No, I wasn't. Honestly, no, that couldn't be."
Well, the emotional impact of the music, though. I mean, we're now kind of wandering into that part of it. Technology, the technique, it's all wonderful. You did a great job, but there is a tremendous emotional impact to that music, Tony, and it's obvious that you were feeling something. Now, I know musicians often don't like to talk much about their personal lives or where that comes from, but that was a real feeling. That was a real emotion.
Yes. Well,
you want to talk about?
Well, we can talk about that. This is about understanding that there's people in my life that I've been really close with for a very long time, and there comes a moment where they are living their life and being really amazing at what they're doing. But in those moments, they don't need me to be a part of that journey anymore, which was me just thinking, wow, first of all, I'm really proud that they're able to get on with their life and do these amazing things. And then there was this part of me that thought, oh, but that this is me having to let go for that to be able to happen. Well, it's happening anyway, but for me emotionally to let go. And I don't have children. So for me, this is kind of the closest experience to understanding that when you have someone that you love very much in your life and you're very proud of them and you've been a part of their journey for a period of time, when there's another aspect to that journey that only they can do on their own, that you're letting them go, that becomes a very emotional moment. And it just struck me in that moment. I felt it. And the lyrics almost wrote themselves because they just tumbled out, right? I'm just sat there just singing what my stream of consciousness is sharing with me.
That's totally different from what tumbles out of me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I can tell you that.
Well, and I think that the timing is perfect because during this pandemic, when I think about how my life used to be versus how it is, you have to let it go of a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of places, and it is painful. And sometimes we question and go, why is this happening? Or why aren't they here anymore? But that's just life. And I think that this really sums it up in such a beautiful way. And to Al's point, this can be played at all the weddings in 2022.
Great father-daughter wedding dance. It's perfect.
Yeah. Well, from your lips to God's ears, Al.
Well, you know, my daughter isn't married yet. When she gets married, we picked 99 Luftballons.
That's a great song.
But I think I'm changing to never going to say goodbye.
Well, you could do both.
So true.
And obviously the final part of each chorus, never going to say goodbye, it really is understanding that letting go isn't saying goodbye. These are two different things, right?
Sure.
Saying goodbye is a whole different kettle of fish. But you can let go without having to say goodbye is really the thing.
That's important. There's an important message right there.
Well said. Well said. Tony, I have a question for you. So in terms of the production for this this video, how can you submit to get an award, or how does that work? I don't even know.
It requires anyone who's a doctor to submit on your behalf to the Academy Awards for Best Pop. I know. I'm sorry. I don't know, to be honest. I'm sure there must be awards for videos. The challenge that I have is that I'm very much an independent artist. I've been independent enough to do everything from the artwork to the music to the video to singing it and writing it. But being independent against a backdrop of large major corporations and massive $1 million budgets for marketing and promotion is a very difficult place to be, really. So there's probably, and I need to do a little bit of investigating, probably festivals that have music video categories. Really, for me, this was first and foremost a passion to release the music and give it a life, because if I don't release it, it will never have a chance. It now has a chance. It's out there in the open. People can hear it. They can watch the video. They can share it. And the next part is a little bit really of trusting the universe to help guide it to the right people.
Sure.
If the right algorithm on YouTube picks it up, or the right algorithm on Spotify picks it up and puts it on a playlist, it can make all the difference, right? So we keep our fingers crossed and see what happens.
Good luck with that. And are you performing it publicly now, Tony? Effective today? Are you going to start singing?
Yes, I did it for the first time at the end of my show that I do. I've got a monthly show that's based on an album that hasn't been released yet. The show's called Awake, and it's a 1.5 hour production. It's a one-man show, but I don't talk. I'm talking a lot right now, but I don't talk much in the production. It's mainly all music and visuals and imagery. So I've done 12 of those, and on Tuesday we did the 12th one. Ilo was special guest performing on the night. Of course, that's how we know each other, Dr. Jacalyn, isn't it? Because beautiful Ilo, who's amazing. And I played guitar for her, and we did the opening set. And then at the end of the night, I played the video with just the track, with no voice or piano, but I'd never done it before. So even though there was a little hi-hat just going, trying to keep me in time, because I hadn't rehearsed it, I didn't know where it started. So it took me 3 goes to be able to actually sing it, because I'd always be in the wrong place in the song. Because at the beginning it's just piano and voice, right? So I don't know it's wrong until the next bit comes in, and then it's out of step. So by the 3rd time we got it right, and it went down beautifully. It was lovely.
Oh, that's great.
But yes, I'll be playing it a lot
what
now.
response did you get? What are people telling you about the music?
Well, I have to be honest. It's been very, very touching. Probably, I probably had more response than all of the things that I've released over the past few years, because I think it touches a nerve, and I also think that as a producer, I've understand better how to capture what it is I want to try and perform and sing, and make it sound more like a record, if that makes sense. No, that's wrong. They all sound like a record, but I spent more time this last year working on production ideas. So I think this is the best production that I've done of my voice and a song. But there's just something in the meaning of this song that seems to touch people so much. I've been getting lots of messages from people around the world who've heard it and telling me how much it now means to them. And that in a very short space of time has been really touching.
I'm going to put up a comment from Rania because I think it captures it. Tony should add a disclaimer to watch the video and listen to the music with a box of tissues. So, and
I know I needed them. That's for sure.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful music.
The thing is that I didn't write it to deliberately try and make people cry, but as you spotted, Al, it's very honest, right? I'm writing a song that has meaning to me, and I think that becomes very apparent when you listen to it, that it's not just, oh, here's a ballad, here's a song, which can be nice and can be fantastic, but there's like another level of intention that's running through it, that makes people feel that emotion, and then it can trigger all kinds of things that have got nothing to do with why I wrote the song, but allow somebody else's emotions to be released and to feel not sad, because I don't think it's a sad song, but it's certainly a reflective song. And sometimes
it's momentous. It's
that
that whole idea that you put it out there and it connects with a moment that people remember or that people might be experiencing. I mean, that's the magic of it. It's what the listener brings to the music in a lot of ways.
Absolutely, yeah. Without a connection, the music is meaningless. It's just I've put something up there and then nobody will connect with it and it has no meaning. But as soon as it has a meaning, and that's what happens with all great music. And just for a moment, I'm elevating myself into the level of great music there on my own. But I feel that connection with people when I play it, when I sing it, and that really is very touching to me. I'm very blessed to be able to found that little magical moment and be able to share it.
It's a Billy Joel kind of a thing, and it has that kind of impact, and you should be really proud of the work you've done.
Thank you. Well, Billy Joel's a massive influence in my life. I think he's one of the greatest singer-songwriters of any generation, to be honest.
Same emotional medium.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
By the way, there's a ton of comments that people have put on, as well as where to find the music. But so where can people purchase this? Where can they download it?
So it's on all social media. So it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's on Amazon Music, it's on Tidal, Deezer, wherever there's digital music, you can find it. If you just search for Tony Moore and Never Gonna Say Goodbye. If you want to find out more from me, or I think there's a link on my main website where it's got links to the main social sites. It's TonyMooreMusic.com. And basically, YouTube is Tony Moore Music. Pretty much everything is Tony Moore Music, except Facebook, which is Tony Moore Media.
All right. I'm typing it up right now. Sorry. All right. Problem. There we go. Fantastic. So just a quick digression. So we play Route 66 on here all the time, Route 66, whatever people would say. And I'm just wondering, how is that produced? And there's so many animals that are in there. That's really kind of cool. Every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, there's an owl, there's a snake, there's...
So exactly the same way, in the same room with the same green screen. And I'm just using public domain photographs from different parts of Route 66 that I've turned into colored cartoons. And then if you just search YouTube and you put, I don't know, free green screen animal, there's lots of little green screen creatures and animals and all kinds of stuff people have created and just put online for free for people to use. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a tickly cough and a cold at the moment. Anyway, so I just found lots of these funny little creatures and the one dog that's in every scene except for one scene. And I tried to find intriguing places to put the dog and the animals. And of course, they do another thing. They give a sense of three-dimensionality, if there's such a phrase, to what is really just a two-dimensional experience. I'm trying to be a bit of a rock god on the guitar. I'm just, singing along, and then in the solo, I'm going up close to the camera, and but essentially, I know that it's going to be quite static, right? Because the pictures are just pictures. There's even, I think in the final scene, there's a car that kind of spins around and drives off. That's just a green screen car that I dropped in there. That's not a film. That's just still a photograph.
Is it okay with you if we play it?
Absolutely. Sure.
Okay. Let's take a look. And by the way, we've got a comment from the lovely Facebook user. I looked it up. It's Diane Floyd Bame. Hi, Diane. She loves your new song and she can't wait to buy it. She's going to buy it, play it. Thank you, Diane. That's wonderful. All right, let's take a look at Route 66.
I love that. I love that song.
Thank you.
I love that too. We play that all the time. And that dog, how does the dog get moving? It's like it's a real dog. It's even back at the motel with the guy on the phone. Oh, it's a real dog. Okay.
It's a real dog. But it's a green screen real dog. So somebody just filmed a dog for, I don't know, 15 seconds on a green screen. And the dog's just doing that. And I keep putting it in different scenes, but everything is about context. And context creates fools the brain into making assumptions, right? So the brain eventually goes, that looks like it could be in a real place, right? Because I've got a guy on a phone in the background talking, right?
I saw that, yeah.
It's and there's one scene where there's a snake.
I saw a snake with the dog. Yes.
And just as the snake goes to strike the dog, there's a cut. So you don't know what happens, right? Poor little dog.
Exactly. Now, how many instruments or what instruments do you play?
Okay, so we live in an age now where using the computer allows us to play far more instruments digitally than I would be able to play in real life. But I play guitar, piano, and I guess bass guitar, right? So any of those variations, acoustic, electric guitar, lead guitar, synthesizers, organ, I can play all that. The rest of the stuff like the drums, sometimes there's a real drummer. I have a friend called Tommy Harden, who's one of the world's greatest drummers. He lives in Nashville. And so I might send him the track and he'll just listen to it and play along and send me back his drums. And then I mix them in. And I get some friends. Tommy and his wife are also great singers. And Ilo, as you know, is an incredible singer. So they will do harmonies for me. And even if they can't be in the same place as me, they just send me the versions of their voice singing along. And then I mix them in. And then the rest, the orchestral things and stuff like that, I'm using the computer to program orchestral sounds and things like that.
Artistry.
Yeah, it is true artistry. And I know we have to close out soon, but so what was the reason for performing Route 66? What was the meaning to you? Well,
because I have collaborated with this incredible winery in Italy called the Torti Winery, and we have a Tony Moore signature label of wine called Route 66. So I have 2 reds and a white, and the labels are designs based on my clothing because, as you've rightly spotted, I have an interesting wardrobe. So we've used details from some of my clothes to make the labels. The wine is now available in America. It's imported into New York, and it's available via mail order in most states at the moment, whilst we look to do distribution across America on a larger scale. And in fact, I'm not sure if you will have noticed on your Facebook Messenger, I sent you a thing called Linktree, which is just a link. If you're able to post it in the show, I'm not sure, but that link will give you then all the links to everything else, including the video, the digital platforms that are carrying the new single, my website, the American Route 66 distribution contacts and all that kind of stuff. But it seemed to me that if I'm going to have a wine called Route 66 by Tony Moore, I should actually record the song Route 66. Be stupid not to, right?
It makes sense.
So I thought, how can I put my own take on it? Because it's really a very different song. The original is much more bluesy, right? It's a kind of piano thing. Nat King Cole, right? Well, if you ever plan the Mortal West, right? So I needed to kind of make this a little bit rockier and more stylized to suit me.
No,
very you did a great job. Really amazing. And
if anyone wants to find out more about the wine, you can go to route66.wine. That's the easiest way to do it. Route66.wine.
Oh, good to know.
Okay, I put your link tree up, and I'm putting the Route 66 wine. So I know we had you here before. We talked about the wine. So I'm actually going to go and see if I can purchase it here, because that would be fabulous. I'd love to support.
You're still in New York, right?
New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey. Yeah. Well, let me find out where it is, where you can track it down. I'll send you a contact, and we can work that out for you. Definitely.
Good.
Perfect. We'll have to have you back, and we'll drink the wine on the show. I love it.
Sounds good to me.
Alcohol always adds an element. I don't know what it is exactly, but it does.
True. Well, you know, these are such great wines, and to be honest, you know, I'm not a great drinker in life. I never really have been. There's too much to do to be sozzled and not able to do it for me. But the reason that we're even doing this collaboration is because when I went to the winery to visit, just as a friend, I loved the wines so much. They were so amazing that this is a wine that I can drink for pleasure without it affecting me negatively, if that makes sense. You know, you can drink quite a lot of it and it doesn't affect you. Don't get too drunk and you never get a hangover.
No.
Crazy.
Perfect kind of wine.
Yeah.
Tony, last question. I've been thinking about it all the time. So this hat, I absolutely love it. Can you just put your head down a little bit? I love bling. Anything bling I must have.
Yeah, me too.
I love everything you're doing. I'm so happy for you and so proud of you. What a great day. And it's great to be able to celebrate this with you.
Congratulations, Tony.
Jacalyn, you know, I really appreciate your support. We're in a world where division is getting stronger, and so unity and love and help and supporting each other is more important now than ever. So I don't take anything for granted, and I feel very touched and honored that you've given me this much time, and thank you.
Very important.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. And I just want to have a call to action. Anybody who's out there watching, and I see you're watching on the various platforms. By the way, the videos look great on the big screen because I have a big screen over here. Please just click share. Just share the video with your network so that everybody can listen and watch. It's so important. And it just takes one little click, share. And I know that's what I'll be doing over the weekend, sharing this again and again.
Getting the word out, definitely.
Yes, thank you. All right, Tony, we have all your contact information there. And if there's anything else that you want people to know before we go, please, I'll spotlight you.
Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy yourself and live in the moment. We never know what's around the next corner, and we're unable to affect anything that's ever happened to us in the past. The only thing we have is the moment we live in right now. So let's just embrace, enjoy, and make every moment the best moment. And when you add those moments up, it will be the best day of your life, every day of your life.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tony. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tony.
And one last comment. Somebody is writing, thanks for telling us where to go and get the wine for Christmas. Yes.
Yes. Oh,
yes.
Great gifting idea.
So, Tony, when you find out, let's put it here in the comments so that people can know where to go.
Yeah, route66.wine will take you to you'll be able to find the US distributor and the and it's also in my link tree. So if you want to get it by mail order, if you're not in New York or New Jersey, if you're in Oklahoma or wherever, you can still get the wine. It's delivered across the states, and you've got plenty of time to get it in ready for Christmas.
Let's do it. All right. Thank you
Thanks a
so
lot.
much, Tony. And thank you to everybody for engaging. We really appreciate it. All right,
Bye-bye,
Tony, we'll
everyone.
see you again.
Thanks,
Bye.
Tony. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Oh, I love doing this special event with you, Al. Thank you so much. You know, you are talented in so many areas, and I know you can really appreciate Tony's work as I do as well, because he truly is gifted and a genius in so many ways.
I've got a few connections with the music business, and I know that really, really good musicians make it look easy. It is not easy. And Tony's like a classic example of a gifted, talented musician who just makes it look effortless. And, you know, and his new song is just a classic example of exactly that.
It definitely is. So thank you again, Tony, for sharing it with us today. And thank you to everybody who's been part of the show. We are going to sign off now. We've got another show coming up, The Listening Mentor. And my guest, my elevated listener, is Diane Floyd Bain. So, and Mr. Cini's also an elevated listener. What does that mean? That means they have invested the time and the effort to learn how to listen. And isn't it so important in this world? We want to be able to be with people who, you know, Tony's talking about unity. How do we get unity? By listening to each other, not judging one another, not trying to come up with an answer, not waiting till someone stops talking so you can jump right in and say what it is that you've been thinking this whole time. So thank you, Al, for being an elevated listener. And thank you.
Well
also,
worth the investment, definitely, and a great experience. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. All right, everyone. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Al, take care. Nice seeing you again. All right. Bye-bye.